maybe fear is not the right word. Um, what would the word be? Trepidation.
Dude, this guy graduated, came out with a new vocab. Go ahead. Define that word, Caleb?
I can't define it, but I know what it
Bruh.
means. I swear I used it properly. Trepid. A feeling of fear or agitation about something that may happen.
Hmm.
So there's a little bit of trepidation. There's a little
that you had you could you do.
And welcome back.
Ayo. What's going on?
It's been a while,
For
man.
yeah, for the second time it's been a while. It's been such a long time, man.
Yeah, the people don't know this, but I haven't seen Caleb in 3 weeks. Now you might
It's
not
true.
feel like it because an episode came out last week, and you're
We're
like, oh, these guys probably
dedicated.
talked.
We're dedicated,
Yeah.
man.
So we
That
had,
episode was filmed in May.
yeah, it was. We pre-recorded it because I was away and Caleb was busy.
Oh, what was I
And-
busy with, you might ask?
Caleb,
Well, some graduating finally.
yeah. Hey, put on the hat. Put on the hat.
Sounds like, oh, wait, hold on. This is gonna get. I'm sorry if the noise sounds really bad.
No, I'll mute him. Wow. Proud mom.
Oh, I ripped something.
Did you really? Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. Let me pause so everyone can take a screenshot. Did that. Nav was traveling. Big things happening in the life and moments department.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you did on your trip because we haven't talked purposefully because
Yeah.
this is what our life is now. We don't have a real relationship.
Yeah. When we talk meaningfully, it's gonna be on camera.
Yes,
That's it.
It has to be.
Our
We can't do
conversations
anything else.
Our conversations outside? No, nothing. Bare minimum, surface level. Don't tell me anything important. Tell me
I
on
don't want to
podcast.
see you unless we're doing the podcast.
Yeah. He made that abundantly clear when I gave him his birthday gift.
Get out of here, man. It's a month and a half late.
Hey, you got it regardless. I thought it was also very meaningful. I put a lot of
was.
thought. Do you know
This
how
guy-
embarrassing? Okay, go ahead. Tell him.
Got me a little Indigo gift card because, surprise, surprise, I read books. I know I've never mentioned that, not one time in my life. I was very thoughtful. I was very touched. There's an even more thoughtful thing there, but I want to keep that just to myself.
Oh, I thought you were gonna tell. It was a really meaningful gift. He doesn't want to share it. I cooked with that. You know how embarrassing it is to ask for the bare minimum gift card at Indigo
Give
when
me
they're-
$2. Thanks.
Um,
Hey, inflation's hitting hard, man.
That's true. That is true. But it felt particularly bad when the workers were like, "Yeah, it's been really slow here," and then I'm over here asking for a $2 gift card.
That's pretty funny. You gotta admit, that is pretty funny.
His gift card that he was holding up is not $2. It is in fact an actual a higher value gift card.
So, anywho, I hope you're doing well. I hope the viewers doing well.
Yes.
Peter
He's not gonna
and
watch.
Ty, he's been liking everything,
Oh, thanks, Ty.
all our shit, and he's been liking it early too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Ty.
I
Appreciate you.
posted.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to reshare and repost that, Ty. Can't wait. Can't wait for that.
All right, relax, man. Maybe we should start resharing
know
and
we
reposting
gotta-
it before
maybe.
anyone else does.
Um,
Anywho, what are we talking about today?
we're talking
It's
about
gonna be a little different.
it's gonna be a little different. I forgot about this. Yeah, I forgot all about that. It's gonna be a little different one today. We're talking about, we're touching on our new journeys. Caleb's graduated. I went on a trip, but new journeys can extend to a lot of things. It's even extends to when we start over. And I feel like there's a wave of excitement, but also fear that hits you. You feel a sense of freedom, but also kind of feel lost, as I'm sure Caleb might feel a both mixture of fear, but also excitement as he walked across that stage and he looked back at SFU and said, "I'm not coming back here for the next
Hell yeah.
little while until my graduation comes." But
Nah, if I have so many graduations to go to in October, it's crazy, man.
um,
But it's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
There was excitement, but there's also, oh God, now I got to go do something with my life.
Yeah, and I'm excited to dive into this episode a little bit more and see how you feel, see how I feel, talk about your previous travel journeys because you've been a lot of places as well, and
Hmm.
I really want to get into those because we've touched on them, but we haven't fully dove into them. So
Yeah.
I am
We don't
excited.
talk deeply. I'm telling you. It's a superficial friendship.
Um, all right, so I'm gonna hit you with a question just to get it started.
Hmm.
Um, so why do new journeys, travel, graduation, or your previous travels, why do they feel so exciting yet fearful at the same time?
One word, unknown. It's you don't know what's happening. You
Hmm.
don't know what to expect. Now, some people do. Like I know people who I graduated with, they already have a job lined up. They know what their future is going to look like. They know their career. And I know a lot of other people who have no idea.
Yeah.
And they're still working a job that isn't necessarily in their field or doing something that they're not going to be doing for long term, but it's the unknown. So when you go to a new place, like I've experienced before, there's a ton of excitement because it's new,
Hmm.
but there's also maybe fear is not the right word. Um, what would the word be? Uh, Trepidation.
Dude, this guy graduated, came out with a new vocab. Go ahead.
Woohoo!
Define that word, Caleb?
I can't define it, but I know what it means. I swear I used it properly. Trepid. A feeling of fear or agitation about something that may happen.
Hmm.
So there's a little bit of trepidation. There's a little
That you had you could you do.
it's a little hesitation because you might be worried that, oh, what if this happens and it doesn't go exactly to plan. I know when I went to Europe, there were things that did not go as planned and initially stressed us out, but then we're like, oh, this is just part of the journey. And now
Yeah.
we look back and we laugh at it because
Right.
it made the journey so much better. But it's really interesting at SFU when you graduate, you walk across the reflection pond. All of the
Hmm.
graduates do as they proceed into the ceremony.
Yeah.
And it's very much a symbolic thing. Obviously, you're reflecting on your time there.
Right.
But I remember very clearly, and I was told to enjoy the day because it goes by very fast. And so I was walking across the reflection pond. I was like, this is super weird. I've walked across this pond hundreds of times. I, I don't know the exact amount, obviously. And this time felt just a little bit different.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm wearing a big gown and whatnot, and
Yeah.
there's a couple hundred of us walking together. But it felt very much okay. Yeah, there's something new is happening.
Yeah.
Super exciting. You get all the congratulations, the what's next. But that's also scary because we like to be in control and know what's next. And I don't. I hope this is in my future, obviously. I think we both do.
Right.
But what did your travels teach you about that? Like, I'm sure you were excited, but I know you were also a little stressed before you left.
Yeah. I think the
So,
biggest sort of like fear and worry for me was the language barrier.
mm,
Simply because if I got lost, you get lost here in Vancouver, you can go to the tap someone next to you or tap someone there and be like, hey, how do I get here? We had trouble finding our Airbnb. We stayed in one of the Airbnb in one Airbnb on like one of our first days in Tokyo, and we didn't know where it was because the instructions like were kind of clear, but they were like it's kind of next to this building on
mhm,
this side, and you'll kind of see this color on the roof. And like you're looking around, and I'm like, that fits like 9 different buildings. Like, which one are we supposed to like knock on, or so then there was this old lady who was walking down, and we're like trying to communicate and be like, hey, do you by chance know where this is? We have like a Google map zoomed in, pointing to where we are. We're like, we're here now, but like, where do we go? And they directed us to like across the road that was like way further than we thought. Went down
mhm,
there, realized we were wrong, talked to another person who directed us back to where we were the first time. Um, it was it was a very like wild goose chase finding the apartment. Eventually, we were able to find it, but it kind of showed you how like how much we take things for granted when we're able to communicate effortlessly. Um,
mm,
you know, it, when people around you speak the same language, and they say 70% of communication is nonverbal, and we're playing charades at this point, trying to figure it out
mm.
and take advantage of that 70% because it's like, well, we're not meeting that 30% that like verbal communication, so we
We're
got to do
not
something
talking.
else to figure it out. But um, aside from that, I said this to like my brother as we were reflecting on the trip, but like there was also a lack of like belonging I felt. Like I mean, you can look at me like I'm in Japan. While there are like many, while there are many tourists, like I don't fit in. Like I don't, I kind of stand out.
Literally, Nav, you're 6'4"
Yeah,
or
like
six
and
five.
the height is another reason. And like I'm looking around, and pretty much everyone I'm looking around at, I'm meeting gaze because they're looking at me before I'm
Yes.
looking at them, and it felt like almost a little uncomfortable. Because I'm like, why? I understand why everyone's looking because it's like, let's say if I'm back in Pakistan and I see someone from Japan here, like I'm gonna be like, oh wow, um,
That's interesting.
yeah, and I don't know. It was definitely different. It made me a little nervous at first, but then I was like, you know what? It's someone new, something new. So I understand as to why they're
Yeah, as
looking.
long as people aren't like yelling at you, telling
Yeah,
you to get out of there.
they are very nice and very kind individuals. Like everyone, despite the language barrier, they were all willing to help. Whether they were helpful at the end of the day was another thing. But they were super nice, and I was excited for that culture, and I definitely got a really big taste of that. So.
That's good. There's such a I found through my travels, and I'm assuming you did too.
Mm.
This you have to let go of a lot of things because you're not things will go wrong.
Yeah.
It's so true. We apply it to school, you apply it to business. It's very much true with traveling as well.
Mm.
Things are going to go wrong. They're not going to go as planned.
Yeah.
Uh, when I went to Europe, the things went wrong instantly.
Mm.
Literally within 4 hours of us leaving our house, things were wrong
Yeah.
because we were taking a connection flight from Winnipeg, from Vancouver to Winnipeg, and then from Winnipeg into London.
Yeah.
24-hour delay in Winnipeg. We're on the plane, plane's about to take off, literally barreling down the runway, and a light came on in the cockpit, and it's like, oh, this is a problem. We need to get it checked out. We were going to London only for 3 days because we were going to London, then we were going to France, then we were going to Amsterdam, then we were going to Norway. So we had very set times in all of these places. We lost an entire day in London at the beginning of our trip, and obviously pretty pissed about it at first, but you can't control these things. There's mechanical issues, and we would rather the plane be fixed and fully operational, obviously.
Yeah.
And we got to London, obviously super jet lagged, long flight, big time difference, all that stuff. And we get to our Airbnb, super easy because we had to take the tube,
Yeah.
which was just it was super hot because in the middle of the day and blah blah blah. And we get there and we all wanted to go to bed. We all wanted to take a nap and be like, okay, fuck it, this day is done. But we realized that we had tickets to the Westminster Abbey for that day because that was supposed to be our second day.
Mm.
And we looked at each other, my mom, dad, and I, and we're like, well, let's just go. We're
Yeah.
very tired. It's gonna be whatever, but let's just go. And it was fantastic. We had a
Mm.
great time. We had another delay when we got to Paris because we couldn't find our Airbnb, kind of like you were saying. And we were walking around the city for like an hour and whatnot, but we were walking around Paris.
Mm.
Like there's worse places to be lost,
Yeah.
right? And so I try to adapt that mindset in the moment of, oh, okay, we're in Paris. Like we're not in danger. We're not at risk of anything. We're getting to see this beautiful city. We're
Right.
going to do this anyways. It's fine. And we had a great trip, but there was definitely those moments early on that tested us pretty quickly and made me realize that, okay, things are going to go wrong and we can't control that, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. That's a great. Like, if you're gonna get lost at some point, might as well get lost in Paris. That's a nice place to get lost in.
It's such a nice place to get lost in. There's way worse places to be.
Yeah.
So,
Um.
and like you said, there's helpful people, but I still just don't know exactly what was going on there.
Yeah.
We couldn't find where we were going.
That's
But
fair.
it was fine. It was good. I love those moments looking back because it made the trip so much, I think, better
Mm.
because we bonded over that more.
Yeah.
There's like, "Ah, what the hell's going on?" And there was a slight delay on the train when we were going from Paris to Amsterdam. And it's like, okay, these things are just going to happen. We have to go with the flow.
Yeah. Um. Mine. My sort of like hiccups in the trip were more so due to like comfortability. Um. So June is rainy season in Japan. And it did rain pretty heavily for like the first 2 days and like 3 days in between. But we planned, and we brought Vessies, which are waterproof shoes. Um, but the Vessies that we brought were like a little small, and They were a little uncomfortable, at least for
Mm.
like mine were. And when I'm testing it out, it's like, oh, are these good to wear for Japan? Let me try them on at home, walk around a little bit. They're fine. But the amount of walking I did in practice versus the amount of walking we did in Japan were two very different things. It was like we
Hmm.
averaged like 24,000 steps a day.
Yep.
Um, and it was like, oh my goodness, my feet not only stunk, but they hurt. And I'm talking every time we got to Airbnb or a hotel and I took my shoes off, put the shoes in like a drawer or something. Don't keep them out because they're nasty. I've never went through so many
Nice.
socks so quickly. So like what we would do is we would go out in like the morning slash early afternoon, come back home, unwind, then go back out in the evening. So that's two pairs of socks. Are being because as soon as you put the socks in the shoes, you got to put the socks in the wash. So go out, come back, socks got to go in the wash. You go out, come back, socks got to go in the wash. It was 2 weeks. The trip was 2 weeks long.
Hmm.
At some places, laundry wasn't accessible.
Oh God.
So I brought like I want to say like eight 14 different pairs of socks, which is a lot for 2 weeks.
That's a lot for
You
two
plan like
weeks.
one per day, but I didn't realize I was going through two per day. So then I was a little like, oh shit. So there were moments where I'm like, all right, got to put the same pair of socks on for the evening outing because I don't have like the sock resources to get some more. And I don't want to buy no socks either because it's like, I came with my own socks. If I'm going shopping in Japan, it's not going to be for no damn socks. It's going to be for something else. Um, so that was one thing, and it's also like it's very humid, and it's
Mm.
humid not only when it's super sunny outside, it's also humid when it rains. So it's coming down, and I have my jacket and I have my umbrella, and I'm like sweating because it's hot.
Hmm.
And then I come back, and it's like whenever like we take a break from walking and whatnot, you notice how sticky you are, and it's
Yes.
like, oh, that sticky feeling is the worst feeling to ever have because it's like
Yes.
I'm cold, and if I take my jacket off, I'm still gonna be cold, and I'm gonna get drenched. But weather was a tough one. It was a little hiccup. It didn't. There were moments where I'm like, oh, this is kind of ruining the outing. But then it's only when I got to the Airbnb and when I got to the hotel when I was like, dog, it's just rain. Like you're
Hmm.
from what people call Raincouver, and you're whining about a little bit of water getting on you.
Literally.
Um, so then it like when I would go home and like debrief, I'd be like, hey, the next day I'm not gonna have this attitude, and I go off the next day, it's not even raining, and I'm like, all right, well,
No, you're
it,
not
it's
gonna have the attitude
it's
then.
behind. Definitely not gonna have. But it's important to be flexible. And I feel like flexibility is something that we both kind of touched on. We will continue to touch on because as we said, things aren't always going to go according to plan. And there's a
Yes.
quote that my grade 3 teacher said, and
Wow, you're
it's
pulling this out of nowhere.
yeah, and it's that you can't get bent out of shape if you're flexible, right? You can't get bent out of shape if you're flexible. It's gonna bend. It's gonna go somewhere you don't like it. It's gonna go right back if you're
Hmm.
flexible.
Oh,
Um,
that okay. That reminds me. Have you ever seen the TV show SWAT?
no.
Okay, so there's a motto or saying that they use, especially in like seasons one and maybe two. And team leader, he says, "Be like water," and the team responds, or nope, shit, nope, got that wrong. Let me redo that.
Okay.
Bloop, 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 bloop,
SWAT?
bloop.
What's SWAT?
Hey, SWAT. Okay, yeah. So it's this TV show,
Sorry. Yeah. Um, okay. No, I don't.
and
I don't know what SWAT is. Sorry.
it's a TV show, and obviously they're SWAT members, the police officers, and the leader, Hondo, he would always say, um, "Be like liquid," and the team responds, "Fill the gaps," because that's what liquid does.
Mm,
It fills the gaps wherever the gaps may be.
yeah.
So I think that's kind of what you're talking about, right? Like, okay, there's an issue here. We're just gonna go with the flow. Whatever needs to be done, we're just gonna do.
Yeah.
Be
Fill the
flexible.
gaps. So in your previous travels, or even this you said you were able to reflect a lot in your graduation. How do you feel like it can or will change, or how do you feel like your travels have changed your perspective on life and the problems that you face?
Well, it makes, I think, and I know I'm not the only one that does this, people get in their own heads about the problems and think that the entire world is falling down.
Mm,
And traveling and seeing how big the world is and people from all different corners of the world makes you realize that, oh, no, there's other people involved in this world too. It's not just me, it's not just my problems, there's other issues. I was just reading a book, and I forget the astronaut, but he went to space, and he was talked about afterwards when he first got up there and was able to look back and see the entire world, where everyone had ever been, the history of the world, all was there.
Mm.
And he said that he immediately felt this connectedness
Yeah.
and he also felt kind of sad. He's like, why the hell are we treating each other so shitty?
Yeah.
And why are we focusing so much on these little problems that we have when you actually get around and you go look and meet people from all the different corners of the world? And like, oh, other people are dealing with the same thing. I'm not the only one. There's more to this world than just the small issues that you have going on and your one perspective. It opens you up.
Yeah.
It shows you different things. Just that Anthony Bourdain said, travel, meet people, walk in other people's footsteps. You will be a better human being for it.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
That is kind of crazy because it's like I feel like when you travel, it also, we said it like a fresh start. No one from here in this new area knows anything about you, like remotely in terms of what you faced, and vice versa. I don't know the things that they faced in their life, and that's kind of cool. Like when that astronaut was looking back, it's crazy to think that, like looking back at the Earth, it's crazy to think that like everything you read about, like all the history that you've known, aside from like astronomy, everything happened in that little
Yep. And a
that tiny
marble.
planet. It happened in a
Like
it happened in a
he
marble.
could put his thumb out and cover the earth. From his perspective.
And you're covering everything that this
That's ever
tiny
happened.
tiny globe, all the languages that you learned, all the people that you've met, everything is gone
All the
with just
history. The 13 or 14 billion years that the earth has existed.
yeah.
All of the dinosaurs, all of everything that's happened is in front of you. So yeah, your problems don't really matter
Well, yeah,
when you look at
they matter, but in the grand scheme of things,
the
like
grand
they
scheme. It's the small stressors that we're talking about,
mm,
right? It's like worrying about what am I going to do next?
yeah.
Well, go touch some grass, buddy. You'll be fine. I don't know. Take a very, I think maybe aggressive approach on that. I've been
Mm,
told, or it's like you'll be okay.
yeah.
Because there's someone is going to be in a worse situation usually.
Right. One thing that kind of opened my eyes was like work culture in Japan, at least from what I saw in the short time I was there, it's pretty aggressive. Like everyone's sort of in like their suits and ties, like as we're like taking the subway until like very late hours. And yeah, you can make a case like that happens everywhere. Like there's always some people who are working late, but I've never seen that many people in like professional wear like who are like with like their suitcases, their briefcases, and they're like walking around still in like business meetings. Like we're going to restaurants, they're still like chatting in like a business sort of type of context. And it put a light in terms of like how, yeah, that while that exists here, it's much more common over there. So much so that we went down a strip in Japan and there's a line of like 40 girls in like schoolgirl outfits. And what that is essentially they're offering like companionship services by the hour, because
Damn.
this notion of companionship is like, it's not foreign, but it's like for these business people who
It's
are
not
working so late,
prioritized.
it's not a priority for them. So they're quite literally like, and I didn't think that was a thing in Japan. And it's not like it's not sexual or anything. It's like you can hold my hand, we can go to places, and then 30 yen or 3,000 yen, which is like $30 an hour. At least for many of the ones that I saw. Um, and I was like, that is, it's so, and it's just out there. It's not even like in like, if you go to this place, you go into this alley, then you'll find like, no, it's like out in front of everyone. We're like, there's
Hmm.
tourists here, and then there's like everyone who's being like 3,000 yen an hour, 3,000 yen in like obviously a different voice and a different language, but I
There's something to be said about that. I hear that, and part of me thinks it's sad that people need to pay money to have a companion,
right,
right? And so there's the balance I think we've mentioned before. You don't want to be just a lazy little bum, but you also, if you're working your life away, there's more to it than that.
yeah, so
And
much more than that.
that's crazy. I couldn't imagine going to have to pay someone to spend time with me. That is nuts. Wow.
Yeah, I was truly shocked when I saw it, and I didn't realize how like it's not like they're like no one's looking at them. There's a lot of people interacting with these individuals who are like taking them up on their offers and whatnot. And don't know. It was
That's
it's
interesting.
kind of cool. Like I'm looking around and I'm like, that's one of them. I see like one of them and like in during the
That's
day,
one of
like
them.
I was like, wait a sec, they're on it. They're on a paid date or whatever, whatever you call it. But,
That's so interesting. I don't even think about that here. This is, I guess, what traveling can do, huh?
yeah, so different.
Yeah, that is true.
So now you're in a new phase. We can while you can also touch on this question in a in the phase of your travels, but you can also touch on as a new graduate. Um,
Oh, did I mention that I graduated?
yeah, this will be that diploma is going to be there for the next like 4 episodes. He's going to
I'm
pull
thinking
it
of
out.
just getting like a little shelf that
Yep.
comes out and just like sticks right here.
He's going to be like, as a certified graduate, I feel as if the
I
this
have a
question
degree.
has. um,
Yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say? What has travel taught you about being okay with not having it all figured out?
well, I feel like traveling and graduating and these new journeys kind of reinforce the idea of it's okay to not have it all figured out. And it's definitely okay to reach out for help. Because regardless of if you're going, if you, I don't like it when people say they're expert travelers because each place you travel to is so different. Regardless of if they have similarities or not, they're so different. And if you're traveling to someplace new or you're going through a new journey, you are a beginner. And it's kind of, I guess, it might hurt some people's pride when they have to admit that you're a beginner at this. And regardless of if your previous travels have been exceeded your expectations, this new place is not some place that you know. And if
Hmm.
that means asking for help from people who have been there before, or whether it's people who are in that place. Like if I'm going to Japan, I ask so many people for help in Japan. Caleb's now a graduate. He may have to reach out to other graduates of SFU to sort of get into this new routine, figure things out, make the most of this new situation. And that's sort of the biggest thing is that I'm not good at this new thing. So I need to ask for help because I'm not going to be able to figure it out by myself as quickly as I could if I had the help of another. And I feel like that's sort of the biggest sort of lesson I'm able to take away. What about you, man? What about
Nah,
you?
I agree. No one has it all figured out. You see it on TikTok or Instagram, those street interviews where people are like, hey, how old are you? What have you been doing? Like, what's a life lesson that you've learned? And
Yeah.
you have 80-year-olds saying you won't ever always know.
Yeah.
There's never going to be the perfect plan that goes exactly the way you want and everything's going to be perfect. That's not going to ever happen.
Yeah.
You might have a perfect day or a perfect couple moments,
Yeah.
but in the long term, things are going to go wrong. You're not going to have it all figured out all the time, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, social media, one of the downsides is it makes it seem like all of these people know exactly what they're doing all of the time.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, behind that curtain, they're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm.
Right? I've seen people who were part of really big popular content houses, and after those ended, like I hated it. I felt like I was selling my soul.
Yeah.
So it's okay. You don't need to know everything, have everything figured out. Ask for help, reach out, network with people. There are genuine and good human beings still around, even though I know the news might try to make us feel like there's not all the shit that's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
But it's you're going to be able to figure it out. You'll be okay. Everyone's going through this. And when you start to think of you're part of something, there's a collectiveness and it's not individual. I think for myself, that calms a lot of the anxiety down.
Mm.
All right. Well, I don't know what's going to be included in that because we had some technical difficulties 150 different times. That's Nav. This is Caleb. You've been watching Life in Moments. We thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you are doing well. Until next time, goodbye.